So this is an unexpected extra addition to this podcast, and it's I just want to preempt this podcast because I'm going to talk about a lot of different things, and maintain the theme as well. There is a channel called Zowoki. I will go on to talk about that in this podcast. I'm not a fan of the channel by any means because of certain things, but he had nothing to do with what happened with Dave. And he said that. Other channels have said that, and I'm saying that. He had absolutely nothing. I feel compelled to stand up for the truth because he had absolutely nothing to do with what happened with Dave's channel. And it's been brought to my attention that the fingers have been pointed in his direction for what happened with Dave's channel. It has nothing to do with him whatsoever, and I can absolutely confirm that. The other thing I want to say is that Zowoki is promoting an NK petition on his channel. You know, we've got petitions for all kinds of things. There's currently one in England for the post office situation, which I might talk about on another time. So Zowoki is promoting an NK petition to reopen the case. And, you know, people are signing for this to happen and everything like that. And there's been a written reason for the person wanting this to happen on the actual site. But I'm just going to say this now, and it's going to be very unpopular. It's a waste of time. Weld County don't care about NK. And even more pertinent and poignant, this fact is even more poignant, is that her name is no longer Nichol Kessinger because she had her name changed legally in a court. So people who are signing this petition are just wasting their time. It's never going to happen. It's never going to be reopened. And she's not called Nichol Kessinger anymore because she changed her name. She legally changed her name, and she has every right to do that. So you're going to sign, you might sign for this to happen, but you're just wasting your time. She will never be looked at again. Weld County don't care about her, and Weld County have moved on. So in this podcast, I'm just going to be rambling on about anything and everything that comes to my mind, and I'm going to be waffling at times. But I want to talk about the aftermath of Dave and AD and Bam and all of that stuff. You know, what's left of what's island. And I also want to talk about, first on the docket, I want to talk about the Super Bowl. So Usher performed his halftime performance at the Super Bowl, and I only watched the Super Bowl for halftime. I have no interest in the game. I heard the Kansas City Chiefs won, and good for them. Happy for them. Happy for Taylor Swift and her man. But I don't know anything about this football. American football is completely alien to me. I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm a Cristiano Ronaldo fan. I don't know anything else. I don't know anything about American football, apart from a few names. So anyway, Usher performed his halftime performance, and within hours it had 1 million views, and it was trending, number one trending video. As a matter of fact, Usher's halftime performance was trending above the actual highlights of the game, which is often what happens. The halftime performance is what really people tune into for Super Bowl. People want to see halftime, even if they have no interest in the artist. And I'm pretty sure that most of my demographic, the people, my wonderful subs, most of you are not going to be Usher fans. I understand that. But anyway, whether you're a fan of him or not, people just like halftime. They want to see what's going to happen. They want to see a performance on stage. And I was just thinking that if Usher had started his career, he's a big R&B singer, sold millions of records, and a lot of people have compared him to Chris Brown, who is another R&B singer. You might not even know who he is. And a lot of people have also compared him to Justin Timberlake. Just like MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice were compared back in the day, which was hilariously funny looking back at some of the videos of people comparing them. Anyway, I was just thinking, if Usher had started his career in this time, in 2024, I don't think he would have been as successful as he became. And the reason for that is R&B just doesn't sell like it would have done in the 90s. It doesn't sell unless you mix it with rap. Current R&B music, and the state of current R&B music, it's really quite non-existent. I mean, unless it's mixed with rap, it just doesn't sell. And there's a few people that can sell it or that can still make it sell, but generally speaking, it's rap and hip hop. That's the big music selling, and the type of hip hop and rap that's selling right now is a style called trap, and it's mumble rap over trap. I don't know if you know this song by O2 Genesis, and it goes cut it, cut it, cut it, skirt, skirt, skirt. So it's basically the type of rap that sells these days is a type of rap that is called like mumble rap, where you can hardly understand what the person's saying, and it's like really fast paced. It's not like back in the 80s where you understood what the person was saying. It's like it's kind of that kind of rapping where you just the person's just mumbling, and that's what sells. Okay. And the rappers who have made a lot of money off of that style is Future, OT Genesis, the Migos, and there's another rapper, Young Thug. First you get the money, then you get the power. So the style of rap that's popular today is trap rap with mumbling over it. So, and Usher doesn't make that kind of music. His biggest hit, or one of his biggest hits, was with Ludacris. Yeah. Which I don't like that song at all. I don't like that song one bit. But the reason why I think it sold is a lot to do with the fact of the rap part of the song. And like I said, there's a difference between R&B and rap. Usher doesn't sing. I mean, Usher doesn't rap, sorry. Usher doesn't rap. He sings, and another person might come in and do the rap in the midsection of the song. So, like, for example, 50 Cent, the In the Club singer. You found me in the club. He's a rapper. He doesn't sing, right? He doesn't sing. He's a straight up rapper. And that's what sells. Rap music is the big seller these days. R&B music is kind of been left by the wayside, and the only way it can survive is if somebody is rapping on a song, and that's just me being very, very honest. In the urban world right now, trap music and reggaeton and Afrobeat music, they're the big sellers. Anyway, I know I'm waffling and rambling, but it's interesting that Usher can take some of his real tired songs and put them into performance. And by the way, I thought Usher's performance was good. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I prefer Chris Brown to Usher, but I think Usher's brilliant. I wish he'd sung his his first song that he ever sung, his debut song, but he didn't sing that. And he's in his mid-40s now, and he's still got it. He's still got the moves. And I'm happy that his performance was, trending at number one. But I was just thinking to myself, if he'd started his career at this time, 2024, I don't think he would have become as big as he is, because it really is mumble rapping right now that's selling, and trap music. And that's past his time, So he started his career at the right time, I guess. Does anyone remember their first love? Like, maybe not their first love, but their first romantic relationship, like their first time. I have spoken about that on one of my podcasts before, and I might do that again. But I liked that. I would go back to that if I could go back to something, I would go back to that time, that kind of innocence where you have like butterflies in your stomach for somebody, and also that person knows that you like them, and they know that they like you, but there's a little dance leading up to everything. You both know something's going to happen at some point, but you kind of dance around it and you delay it and you drag it out, so that when you actually come together with this person, it's all the more sweeter. I remember, and I often remember this, I was recalling this the other day, and I'll speak about this near the end, actually. Anyway, the state of the Watts Island community, I want to talk about this creator called, I think he's called Zowoki, and people who have been searching for Seeking the Truth with Dave would have likely stumbled upon his channel. And he got the initial blame for what happened with Dave's channel. And he put out a video saying, what happened with Dave's channel has nothing to do with him, which I know that it doesn't, because I already explained to you what happened. But it seems to me that people are still running with that story, that he is the one that got Dave down. And, I really don't like it. I'm not a fan of this Zowoki channel, by the way. I have no interest in the channel. I really don't like it when somebody gets the blame for something that they haven't done, regardless of whether I like them or not. It's not his fault. What happened to Dave has nothing to do with him. And it's ironic because I was looking at Dave's channel on Rumble, and one of his subs was talking about how, it's Zowoki's fault that this has happened. And Dave responded with a very backhanded comment about Zowoki. And, what happened with Dave's channel had nothing to do with Zowoki. And I have very different opinions to Zowoki when it comes to the Nichol Kessinger thing. I believe he uses Nichol Kessinger for views. But he hasn't. It's not his cross to bear. What happened to Dave has nothing to do with him whatsoever. And people who are saying that, just leave the guy alone. And I'm not a fan of the guy. I'm not a fan of the guy at all. But it was nothing to do with him. And I just want to talk about something else. Oh God, this is kind of embarrassing. Remember the new guy? Does anyone remember the new guy that started doing the What's case and he got his subs from Dave? What's his name? U6 Trigger or something like that. And his name was Wayne. Well, a certain channel dug up a whole bunch of stuff about him, put it on her channel. It looks like he disappeared and took half of his hair with him. I'm talking about the Southern guy, Wayne. The one that was saying, I support Dave 100%. I just love Dave to death. Slim Shady. The stuff that goes on Watts Island, you really have to. I honestly think the characters on Watts Island are more fascinating than the actual people, in the actual case itself. I mean, seriously, the amount of unsavory characters that clung to this case, it really is. It really is. It really is. And also some of the messages that he sent this woman has been leaked, and calling her some seriously, not very nice names. But I never liked his channel. This Trigger guy, I never liked his channel from day one. I never liked him from day one. I was suspicious of him from day one, wanted nothing much to do with him. I mentioned him in one video at the intro where I was talking about Shanann. But I admitted there that I didn't like his channel, and I saw through him from day one. But what was uncovered and unearthed about him was more than I was expecting. But I was laughing so hard as this woman was releasing stuff on her channel about this guy, and he just disappeared. I'm not Sandra Russek's favourite person, and for many reasons. And I think everyone knows that. How do I put this? I'm really sorry for all the stuff that Frankie has had to go through. Frankie has done stuff that I've called out, but I've called it out enough. I don't need to keep going on about it for the rest of my days. You know, I think with some people, they just don't know when to stop. Like, bam, she never knew when to stop. Yeah, Frankie's done some stuff that I disagree with. And, you know, regard to the crowd justice and Claire Morgan, yeah, I had my say about that. And enough is enough. I don't need to keep going on about it. Fact of the matter is, I want the family to have peace. I remember the first time I had a fallout with Frankie. Frankie and I had a wonderful, wonderful correspondence. We got on just fine until I started talking to Justin, and it was a mistake. It was the wrong thing to do. And I might explain more about this another time. Frankie wasn't happy about me speaking to Justin at all. It was a bad decision. It was the wrong choice. And then I went on the Claire Morgan tangent and got involved with Bam. It was the wrong choice. Having said that, I've left that all behind. That's all in the past. I want Frankie to have peace. He's been through enough. I understand that he's done things that you know, I don't agree with, and you know, he's done things that are wrong. But at the end of the day, he's been through a lot, and I don't want anyone in that family to be. I want that family to have peace. What Dave was doing with regard to them, I didn't like it, and you know, Frankie's had his picture put out. He's had this. He's had that. I feel a little bit protective of Frankie again. And I'm not trying to get back into his good graces because I knew I did a lot. He put up with a lot. He put up with a lot that I did. But, you know, I want that family to have peace. We don't need to be on the same soapbox every day for the rest of our lives. I was on my soapbox with all that stuff, and now it's ended. And I want the family to have peace. And I don't think that Frankie deserves all that he went through. That doesn't mean to say I agree with everything that he said. It doesn't mean that I'm a Rusek supporter. But they've been through enough. And that's what I want to say about that. I think that's it. Just goes to show you I'm just kind of like randomly saying things and putting things out there. I wish I could. It's been a very challenging few weeks for me, and you know, I can imagine what it's been like for the Ruseks. I wouldn't even put what I've been through anywhere near what that they've been through. But you know, I kind of want to go back to a time when everything was innocent. And I'll tell you about this little story. I've told you, I've said this before, but way back when, in a very insignificant podcast that I made, my friend, she used to come and stay with us. When I was a kid, we were both about 13 at the time, 3. And she was 9 months older than me, and we met at dance school, and we had the similar background, so we became friends. And she used to come and stay with me in the summer because her mum would go to America to see her boyfriend in the summer. So she would come and stay with us. And we used to get up to all kinds of things. And one day we went to the shop, our local shop. This is when I was living in Buckinghamshire. And when we were walking to the shop, we saw this guy on the bike, on a bike. And I remember he accidentally bumped into me on his bike. And he was really nervous about doing that. Like he was really apologetic. He looked nervous. He looked shy. And I was just such a mouthy person at that age, and I just was just loving it. I was like rubbing it in his face, and I think he started to ride off or something like that. And we got what we needed, but we started walking in his direction where he was riding the bike. And he kind of, at the time, he kind of looked across between Tom Cruise, and Kevin Costner. I thought he was quite cute, and I picked up a vibe. And eventually, we caught up with him, and then I noticed that he started walking back in our direction. And that's when he said, he asked for the directions to go somewhere, and I didn't know. I don't think I knew. And then we met up. We started to meet this guy on a regular basis and hang out with him. And we both liked each other, but we never said anything until later. And once he took me to his house, and I don't know how old his mother was, but she looked like she was about 35 at the time. She was really nice looking woman, blonde hair. She was sitting out, it was summer, she was sitting out in the garden with her little cut-off shorts. And I just thought that she was the coolest person ever when I met her. I thought she was a cool mum because my parents were really strict. Wasn't allowed to do anything. I felt very confined, and he just had a one-parent family. His dad wasn't around, and sometimes I'd wish that, I had a one-parent family too, so I could get away with doing more things and I would have more freedom. So I thought she was just the coolest woman. She was sitting out in the garden. She was smoking. She was hanging out. It just felt like she was more of an older sister to him rather than his mother. Anyway, I thought she was cool, and he took us out into his garden, and his garden led to this labyrinth kind of big field with trees, and it was just like, it was literally like walking through a labyrinth. It was, honestly, I've never forgotten that time. He took us into his garden, and his garden led onto this big pathway with these big trees and these big tunnels, and it was just like going through a labyrinth, really, of just beautiful gardens. And anyway, as time went on, we became more than friends, and we had our first kiss and everything like that. And the relationship became more, more full on. It wasn't just batting our eyelids at each other anymore, and it wasn't just holding hands. And, I loved him, and he worshipped the ground I walked on. Absolutely worshipped the ground I walked on. It's a strange feeling looking back on it. I don't think I've ever been that worshipped before. I mean, he literally thought I was the best thing since sliced bread, or at least he treated me that way. I do think that some love being was going on. But anyway, one day I called his house, and his mum picked up the phone, and I thought she was being a bit off with me. I thought she was cool with me, and I thought she sounded a bit off with me. And then when I spoke to him later, he said, we're going to have to start seeing each other in secret. I said, why? And he said, my mum knows that we're more than just friends, and she's saying that you're too young and blah, blah, blah. And, she found evidence and this and that. And I won't go into that because that's, and I was really upset because I thought she liked me. I thought she was cool. I thought she was a cool mum. I thought she was really laid back. I thought she was like hip and with it and everything. I didn't think that she was like strict like my parents were. So we had to start seeing each other in secret. And that provided all kinds of challenges for us. But, it was a very nice time in my life. It was a summer romance, and I'll never, ever forget it. And I'll never forget when he bumped into me with his bike, and we were, walking in his direction, and he was so apologetic about bumping into me and so nervous. And I remember, because I was such a mouthy person, I was just like saying, hey, stop, hey, sweetie, hey, hi. Why are you being nervous? Why are you acting all nervous? That's what I was saying to him. And he was so nervous, but it turned out into a beautiful summer romance that I will never, ever forget. And I kind of wish I could go back to that, a time when I was when everything seemed innocent and pleasant, and that innocence that I had. I really wish I could go back to that very innocent time, that very happy time. Summer romances when you're a teenager are just, you never forget them.